Yeah.
And we are live. Welcome, everyone. My name is Felipe from the Instantly team. I'm here with the great Xavier and Balsha. Two great guys I met for over, I think, like it's been like 2 years. They are a top 1% agency. You're going to learn all their secrets. They told me they probably shouldn't be sharing all of the stuff they're going to be talking about today, but here we are. So we will make sure you learn a thing or two about how to be a top 1% sender on called Outbound. How are you today, guys?
Doing great, Felipe. Doing great. Thank you so much for the invitation. And yeah, really excited to get this going.
Awesome. Awesome. Glad to hear. Thanks for taking the time to join. Okay, great. So, how about we start just with a quick intro about yourselves, who you guys are, how do you start, how do you get into lead gen, what makes you unique, like anything you want to share, any funny stories about your agency, whatever it is.
Yeah. Maybe I can start off quickly. The agency was born because I got fired from AWS. So at the time, I had a sales job at AWS. I wanted to do cool things, use automations, or use like tactics out of the box to do sales. And AWS really did not like that. And then one thing led to another. I got fired, and I said, "Screw it! I never want to." Work at like a big old school corporate company. Like I want to be able to do things my way, right? And then one thing led to another. I tried this agency thing for like a year and a half. I ate uh, I ate shit basically for a year and a half. Couldn't do anything, and then finally AI happened. I discovered instantly. Discovered other really cool tools out there, and it feels like honestly a dream that I closed my eyes, I opened them up, and next thing you know, now we have what I think 11 full-time people. We have I think 27 or maybe 28 clients. Just keep growing month by month. That's like kind of like the quick elevator story, over pitch story of like the agency. So yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. I love those kind of stories, where people like they literally build something from scratch and you learn through failure. I like that kind of fuel you. Like, you discover your own
Well,
path. And so,
I'll tell you something. It's not failure that fueled me. Is I'm just so petty. I'm the pettiest person you'll ever meet. So I hated my manager for like 2 years, and then I got over it. But for 2 years, I could just see her face, her name, her voice. I was like, I need to prove her wrong. So I would say it was more driven by pettiness. Now I've become more positive person. Just like I want people to be happy. I want good things to happen. But before, my God, it was a lot of pettiness for sure.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're such a loving guy. Like I know you for so long that I like how
Thank you.
you. I think that's like a non-outbound like tip for people like for success is just learn how to channel your energy into something constructive. And like I've seen you guys growing from the very start, right? I know you have a
Yeah.
very successful agency. Every client of yours that I know is getting great results. So anyone listening to this and not working with you, like it's just like they're missing out. But you guys have started from scratch and I've seen it with my own eyes, so it's just very impressive how you guys have done it. So how about we start with like just dropping value for people. So how about we start with telling people, how do you find, so let's talk a little bit about your process. Okay, so how do you find high quality leads that aren't on LinkedIn or other data sources? I know you mentioned that you have like a very special process that it's like everyone else is like using your traditional data sources. We all know who they are, but you have a very specific method. So how about we talk about that first?
Yeah. So probably me and Balsha will go 50-50 on answering this question. But first thing is I want to dissect a little bit more this problem because I feel like people don't think about this often, which is not every lead out there, not every business out there can actually leverage the major database platforms are out there, right? So for example, I'm sure whoever's watching this, even you, Felipe, you might go to a restaurant and have dinner. Okay.
Yeah.
The food is really good. You go up, you like, who's the owner here? The owner of the restaurant comes out. You're not gonna be like, oh my God, this food was so good. I want to stay in touch. What's your LinkedIn? He doesn't have, he's like, what the hell is LinkedIn, right? But
Yeah.
that person that doesn't mean just because they don't have LinkedIn, they're not a valuable customer to a business. Like, what if I run a business where I'm selling a POS system, right? So, but then I want to get in touch with this guy. How do I do it?
Yeah.
So we found this problem to solve by accident. We were getting a lot of inbound leads. One company, very unique case study. This was almost 2 years ago. They needed sports betting companies. That was their niche. And this is a very successful company, right? But they couldn't figure out how they can tap into it. Most of the companies that have these kind of TAMs, they operate almost primarily on word of mouth. So one guy knows a guy, or like they have to go in person to an event, and then they get in touch with the guy, and then they try to infiltrate essentially that ecosystem. Okay, that's one way to do it, but it takes too much time, right? So there are two ways we go about finding now these leads. So I'll cover one because it's very quick, like I can just talk about it, and I'll let Balsha go into more details about the more complicated version because Balsha actually presented his version one time in Berlin. Fun fact is the first time me and Balsha meet actually was over that. But anyways, one of the ways to find a lead list for these kind of case studies is leveraging the deep research feature that a lot of these LLMs have. Gemini has it, Grok from Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, has it. GPT, of course, has it. Perplexity has it.
Love it.
Yeah. So you basically want to describe your case study. You want to say, this is the niche that I'm looking for. I'm by the way, I'm really like paraphrasing this. I'm happy to send the prompt maybe sometime or like after this webinar we can send it to the attendees. But you basically explain the.
Okay, that's a good message for people. If you stay until the end of the webinar, Xavier will be sharing the prompt. So make sure you watch the whole webinar thing.
So if you post the prompt and then you just let deep research do its thing, this is layer one to try to figure out these niche lead lists. Because there are some databases out there that you would be surprised they exist, but you don't have the time to go through all the data to find these niche databases. So that would be the first layer for you to try to find those databases. But let's say that doesn't work, then I'll pass the mic on to Balsha. Balsha, if you want to go into a bit more depth on how we find those leads, that'd be great.
Well, yeah, thank you for sharing that, Xavier. And typically, like the way we like to approach these hard to reach leads, there are three main ways, right? So, like the first step is always going to be trying to find a niche database, leveraging a tool like deep research, right? You want AI to do the heavy lifting, to do the research for you, and then you can find these databases that potentially contain all of these companies that you're then going to figure out how to get the contacts for. But if that doesn't work, what do you do next? Well, basically, there are two main approaches. Number one would be using something like Google Maps, right? So a lot of local businesses, this is going to be the best way to create a company list for them, right? If you want to create a list of pizzerias in New York, how would you find them if you were actually looking for a restaurant to eat, right? Like you would probably create a search query, pizzerias in New York, Brooklyn, and all of a sudden you are on Google and you're looking at 10 places. And essentially you do the same thing. You can leverage Clay. Clay is a great tool because Clay allows you actually to do this at scale, combined potentially with a Google Maps scraper like Serper, and then you can really leverage these like laser targeted Google searches to like scrape these places into a Clay table and enrich further. And finally, if Google Maps doesn't work, Xavier touched on this like for a brief second, but if Google Maps doesn't work, well, then you really don't have anything else left other than actual Google searches, right? Yeah. So when we were talking with this company that targeted sports betting providers, well, they were explaining to us, they're trying everything. They bought Zoom Info, they bought Apollo, and all of these data providers all of a sudden can't give them what they're looking for because the data is just not there, right? They don't exist. Well, and then I was asking them, okay, but like you obviously have a way of finding these companies like manually, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're actually like doing it, you have to have a way of doing it manually. So then they said what their SDRs are doing, their SDRs are searching for affiliate websites. So they're searching for affiliate websites manually, going into these websites and taking companies out of the affiliate websites manually, right? So what did we do as a GTM engineering agency? Well, we reverse engineered their manual approach. So we created a system that actually, through targeted Google searches, had a way of like by locations, scraping all of these affiliate websites. Then we were individually scraping each affiliate website, feeding that into an LLM, and the LLM was actually doing the extraction of the websites. So essentially, we just reverse engineered what they were doing manually. So those are kind of like the three main approaches. But what do you do when you even create a company list, right? Like if you have this company list, you have their websites. If you try to find contacts, which is what you actually need, right? You need the contacts in order to send the emails. You can't just use the websites. So here is the problem that follows, right? So you want to then, like if you took all of these domains, plug them into Apollo, you will see like only 30% match, right? They don't exist there. So then we realized that there is actually an opportunity here for us to create a system that gets these leads, because where are the leads going to be located? They're going to be located on the websites. A lot of these companies, like let's say dental shops, let's say pizzerias, they will have potentially like on their website a section where they list their team, right? So we just made a system, like exactly reverse engineering a manual approach. We created a system that basically scrapes their teams page, checks all the names listed there, and then we're using a couple of email finding algorithms to take those full names, match them with the company domains, and then get to an email address, right? So when you have the full name, you're good. But a couple of other methodologies that we realize just like through experience really do work for these leads. You don't have to settle even on a name. A name is not even needed, right? When you're doing outreach towards a restaurant that has a single shop and like they're really like a local business, it's sufficient to do outreach through a generic Gmail that's listed on their website. So step number 2, if we fail to find names, we will settle with the email that's listed on the website. Is it a generic email? Is it a personal email? We don't really care for this step. Like we will take that email that's listed there by scraping the website, extracting it via an LLM, and essentially that's it. That's step number 2. And finally, if everything fails, these 2 methods failed, we have like a final method. The final method is using Prospeo. So this is kind of like a secret hack. I don't think a lot of people know about this, but Prospeo has a feature where they allow you, it's kind of like a twofold feature. They allow you to find every single professional email address that's listed on a domain. I don't think they can do it for every single website, but like imagine this, you can give them any domain and they will actually tell you 5 to 10 names that are like actual email addresses listed on this domain. Nice. Plus, on the other hand side, they have the ability to give you the generic email address that's listed on that website. So like an info at, like a contact at, and email addresses like this. This is like our last resort. If everything fails, this is our last resort. And for a lot of these companies that are targeting these local leads, we are basically segmenting into people that we have names for and campaigns we don't even have a name for. And the crazy fact is there's almost no difference. People don't even care if you're calling them by name. Imagine they care about the offer. And that is actually like the only thing they care about. So if the offer is something the market wants, you don't need to call them by name. Like they will still say yes.
I couldn't agree more with that one. Like a lot of people, they tell me like, oh, I'm not getting results when I call outbound. And, my answer to that is if you check that deliverability is good, that the email infrastructure is good, obviously we will be talking about all of that, that the copy is good and everything. The problem might be the people you're targeting and your offer, basically relevance. Like you are not relevant enough for them to even look at your email and respond. So how do you overcome that? So that is something I always tell. So I couldn't agree more that offer is king.
Offer is king after deliverability being, the queen.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome, man. Like I think like this process that you guys are describing, it's something that it's sort of like some sort of like internal waterfall process you have developed. I'm going to apply some of it myself as well to my own campaign. So I love it. So thanks for sharing that. We are also going to be answering some community questions. So guys, please feel free to ask your questions. And we are going to be answering them live. It seems some people already know you here. Marco is sending his greeting regards here.
Hello,
And
hello,
So
Marco.
and
there's
here,
a
go for it.
there's an influx of people asking about email deliverability and stuff.
Yes.
How do you email infrastructure? So maybe if we can touch on that
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
quickly, because there's one thing, this is going to be a harsh thing for people to hear, but one sec. But it is the truth again, which is you guys, a lot of people in this community over obsess with the technical setup of email, right? I know people that are sending cold emails from one domain, right? Like they start very early on, right? And they're sending from one domain and it works. And the reason is because their targeting is so on point, the pain they're solving is so good, and then the offer is so good as well. I think people, what they, I really do see this trend is they love to turn what we do into like this like geeky science thing, which fair enough to a certain point. I think it's healthy. You should do that, but then to a certain point, it's really unhealthy. You're focusing on the thing that no longer moves the needle. As long as you have the main stuff figured out. So, like, let's say before I dove deep into the email infrastructure stuff, I just used Instantly's email infrastructure, the done for you setup. And
Yeah.
again, anyone who might think that I'm saying this because I'm incentivized, I make zero money if any of you guys literally go and use this. But it's
Yeah.
so funny how many times I say this to people when they're like, "Oh, dude, how do you not have any issues?" I'm like, I hate to break it to you, I have nothing special to share with you other than the fact that we use this done for you service, and then we write really good email copy. We have very targeted lead
Yeah.
listing process, and then the offer is good. The problem is worth solving. Like for whoever's watching this, if you're in the coaching business, and maybe by the way, maybe there's someone else better than us at this. I tried to solve this problem for a sales coach guru, and I wanted to help him get leads. It was so hard because the offer isn't that strong, the pain isn't that deep. You know what I mean? But then other problems like a POS system for a restaurant, that pain is deep. They're going to reply. You know what I mean? So everyone asking about like deliverability, no. How are you landing inbox? How are you getting replies? Like, dude, it's not just about the technical setup. It's about the boring stuff that you keep ignoring that separates like the boys from the men, essentially. So that's like a quick, not quick actually. That was a medium length comment about that.
Yeah, love it. Also, just to add to that, I have to say that obsessing over deliverability is not a bad thing as long as you are willing to scale that sending. So, for example, I know some people that they are like, okay, they found that secret that you guys found, right? And they're able to get like consistent replies. It works, right? Like using a single domain because their offer is on point, the copy is on
Yeah,
point, data is great. It's just working.
yeah,
Let's just crash that calendar, right, from that sales team. Let's hire more salespeople. So now let's scale the sending. So for that, deliverability is a very important component because obviously you want to keep getting the same results as you send more volume without being flagged as spam. So yeah, they all go hand by hand, but I couldn't agree more with you. I think the essence of cold email is just send as quickly as possible, fail as quick as possible, and just as soon as you can confirm your hypothesis of this is working or not, just iterate, pivot fast, fix what needs to be fixed, or scale if you manage to get it to work. Awesome.
exactly.
Um, Talking about deliverability, so what does your email infrastructure look like? So how have you avoided like email deliverability issues? Like what are you doing special apart from what we just mentioned? Like is there anything on your setup that makes you guys special?
Well, I mean, we also use Inboxology
Mhm.
to set up our email infra, so that's been really good. Another really popular thing, if you're not doing this now, or if you haven't been doing this for a while, like you definitely should, which is figuring out the lead list that you're scraping if they're on Outlook or Gmail, which instantly makes that process very easy to do because delivering into Outlook is still very tough. So if the inboxes that you're using, you're allowing them to email both Outlook and Gmail, but Outlook is landing you in spam, then you're going to fry your domains
Okay,
faster.
So just to be clear, you
Go ahead.
remove entirely anyone who uses Outlook from your campaigns, correct?
Yeah, every now and then we try to test with a smaller batch with like domains that we're okay burning to see if there's any changes. And then that's the other big thing, by the way, is I see a lot in a lot of these group chats, people are constantly asking each other, yo, what have you noticed? What have you noticed? Or are you guys seeing this? Which again, to a certain degree, I understand, right? But then if you message these individuals, they're not even trying anything out. So there's another very good argument to be made is that like try things for yourself as well, right?
Yeah.
Like don't just rely on people on the internet. Like people on the internet, yeah, can be a great source, but at the same time, like you're in front of your computer, you know, it's one
Yeah.
domain. Try it out on a smaller scale and then scale accordingly. But other than that, like the special things we're doing, I would just guess it would be like the waterfall system that we have and how we clean our data. Balsha, is there anything you want to add in terms of like the building process of why, like I can't remember the last time we had deliverability issues, to be honest. We almost never
Oh,
talk
wow.
about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm very happy to
Yeah.
hear that.
Yeah, honestly, the only thing that I would add there is you really have to be wary of how you clean your data. So another great props to Instantly here, because we actually do leverage Instantly's verification. They have a great verification tool, and we specifically use it to verify catch-all domains, because Instantly has the luxury of all of this email data, right? Like all of this sending that's happening through their platform. And they're actually logging not only like am I correct in saying this, Felipe? I don't want to like overstep, but like logging actually the emails that are like valid, right? Through actual sending, not even just like sending to servers and testing SMTP. And also like actually for the catch-alls that are typically extremely hard to verify, at least at scale, Instantly is doing this. So
Yeah.
I would say this helps tremendously with maximizing your lists. And a lot of times, if we're doing this ESP segmentation, and something that we did notice, like it's, you know, like Google is really like the best right now. Like if you can send Google to Google, that performs the absolute best. So if you have the luxury of a larger TAM, that is something that I can definitely recommend. But other than that, yeah, like data cleanliness, segment your list, and segment actually the ESPs, you know, and that's it.
Nice.
I'm sorry to chime in again. It's just there's a really good question that got asked. I would like to address it because there's a very simple framework to think about this. Dr. Felix asked, oh wait, I'm seeing now his other comment. Where's the first one? He asked a lot. Dr. Felix, if you're here, you're contributing quite a lot.
Fire.
He said, yeah, he asked, can you give examples of bad versus good offers? So I think the best way to think about it, I heard one of our clients who's now a good friend, he mentioned this. He's like, yeah, there we go. He was telling us, he's like, guys, I feel like I'm selling vitamins, not painkillers. And I think that's a really good way for you to think about this. So whatever it is that right now you watching this, right? If you are planning to launch a campaign or you have a campaign launched right now, I really want you to ask yourself the thing that you're trying to solve. Does it feel like it's a vitamin problem or a painkiller problem? So if I have a bit of a headache, like just light headache, someone might say like, oh, you need vitamin D. Whoop-de-doo. I'm either going to take a vitamin D pill or I'm going to go walk outside in the sun. But if I don't know, if I have stomachache that's so bad I'm throwing up, and then you come and you sell me, I don't know the name of a pill that helps me stop throwing up, I'm paying. You know, throwing up, if you've never thrown up in your life, first of all, you're not living. You gotta like live a little bit. But if you throw it up, you know how horrible that feels like. That's a great offer, right? So that's how I would think about it if I were you, is I keep asking yourself, this thing that I have, is it a vitamin or a painkiller? So I actually think lead gen agencies, if you want to start a lead gen agency, it's a great business model because you are solving the problem of you not making enough money. Let's strip down everything that we do. It's what we do, right? Like people come to us, they're like, oh my God, I want to make more money. I want to scale. I think you guys can help me out. That's a great problem to have. That problem has existed since the moment we invented money as a mean to exchange value between each other, right? So that's how I would think about it. I wanted to quickly answer because I think it's actually a really good question.
Yeah, I think this is kind of related So this user is basically asking, how can you stand out when you are in a crowded space? So how do you usually manage that when you have clients that they have offers that maybe, like
Yeah,
they're highly competitive?
I'll tell you because
Okay.
actually I think Balsha knows. I think you and I are thinking the same thing, but I'll let you take it, Balsha. Go ahead.
No worries. Essentially, when it comes to creating offers, specifically for cold email, you want to ensure that you are not being generic, right? You want to really go a level deeper and you want to make specific offers. And another thing that people miss, and I see this way too often, is people don't really connect an offer to a tangible business outcome, right? They're saying stuff just to say, oh, we get you like SEO and like, we'll build your site, and all. People don't care,
Yeah.
You need to connect your offer to tangible business outcomes in order to move the needle for somebody, right?
Yeah.
So basically, to answer your question completely, how to create a good offer compared to a bad offer. Well, you first, like, I think Alex Hormozy wrote a great book. Everybody should read this book. It's actually about 100 million offers, right? You want to first really understand the problems that you are trying to solve. So you want to outline every single problem that you could potentially solve, and you want to outline every single specific value proposition that is connected to those problems. You want to create this map of basically mapping out problems with specific value propositions. And the deeper you go, the more convincing you can be, because people don't care about surface level stuff. You really want to be very specific with your offers. Include numbers, include timeline, make it as specific as possible. Let's say if I'm reviewing copy from some of our team members, I'm extremely I really always try to push our team members to write more specific, right? If you're saying, hey, we can get you leads and you will make more money. Well, say how many leads, say in what time frame, and say exactly how you do it, right? So make it more specific so it's more believable. It's as simple as that.
Nice. Love it. Amazing.
Yeah.
So how about we talk a little bit about your project management system? So because you obviously you're looking at scaling, like I know you guys for a while, and you obviously have been like hiring more people and sending more volume and managing more replies. So how does that look like? How has been your journey from the very beginning, like the whole project management process and so on?
Yeah, my God, I cannot wait to answer this because this is the thing that's been like the obsession of ours in the last couple months. So,
Nice.
I would say what like this topic right now that you're asking me about or asking us about, from January 1st until now, so almost like what, almost 6 months now. That's all we're thinking. That's all we're testing, and so on. And you know the dimwit meme? Do you know which meme I'm talking about or no? You know, a dimwit meme. So that's what project management is, to be honest with you. It's literally that. Let me see if I can maybe quickly share my screen so people can see
Go for it.
what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna click on present, share screen. Don't show these tips again.
We need to give
My God.
context to people so they get
Exactly.
the full idea.
I need them to see what I'm talking about. Okay, you guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
This is the dimwit meme. I freaking love this meme. Most agencies right now are here. They're try-harding so much. We were here from January 1st until like 2 weeks ago, right? Agencies, when they start, they're here. And they don't know that staying here is way better than being here, because here is kind of the same thing as this extremely wise guy. Essentially, this guy is too dumb to know that what he's doing is really good. And this guy is so smart, he knows what he's doing is good. And this guy is at like the middle level where he's like, I need to automate every little step. Like even when I need to use the bathroom, I need to have an automation that snoozes my work to stop. Oh, Xavier needs to go and pee. You know, like they overdo it. So let me stop sharing my screen for a sec. So basically, the way we solve this problem is by trimming the fat. Like Balsha and I ended up jumping on a call, and I have my background. I have no background, right? I didn't go to school, but my background in terms of like what I like and what I got really good at is Notion. And I found an incredible Notion consultant. Oh, I want to give a shout out. His name is Simone. I fucking love this guy. Like I love this guy. He's so amazing to work with, so
Mm.
smart, so direct. And I'm like, let me just go back to the old school ways. This is what I know, what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
And now, and I also obviously have to give a shout out to Notion because Notion redid their entire workflow in not workflow, sorry, like the product is a lot better now,
Really?
and essentially is so much better. And essentially, we strip down what we do into the following. The flow is like this: a client signs the contract, that turns on the onboarding process here. From the onboarding process, a task is automatically assigned to the head of strategy to review the onboarding form. The onboarding form is essentially an ICP form because everything that we do, the main denominator is ICP. Cool.
Yep.
Once the head of strategy confirms the ICP form, two tasks are created now. One task to build a lead list and another one to write the copy. That's the natural like next step, right? Because I know now this is guys, this is the page that we all agree on. Now we need to do the work. We have one person dedicated to build lead list and one person who's also the head of strategy dedicated to write the copy. When these two are done, they come together to now build out the campaign. Whether you build it in Instantly or you build it in Clay, there's building that needs to be done. You build out the campaign, you pass it back automatically also once you click task completed to the head of strategy to confirm everything looks good. You launch the campaign. So a really good example that I was given, I can't remember who gave me this example, but look at how Formula One teams operate. When the car stops, there's one guy dedicated for the right tire and then one guy dedicated to the left tire. You want to try to operate your business in the same way. And then the last comment I will make is that after seeing everything that I've seen, like I genuinely think that you can build a very successful project management system for your agency on almost any tool. As long as you're comfortable with the tool, you have a good understanding of the tool, you can do it in ClickUp, you can do it in Notion, you can do it in Airtable, you can do it fully custom made if you want, you can do it in Monday.com. Shuffle the deck and pick a card. Like they all freaking work. Just so simplify it. Don't you don't need to copy anyone else. Do what you're comfortable with, and then it's going to work.
Yeah, I love this because I noticed the same like Formula One and triathlons. Like those people, like they have like some components that we can all apply into call outbound into our businesses, just in life in general. Like you said, like the Formula One guys, they don't fully automate everything. There are some aspects of it where they keep the human component to reduce errors, but also because you just don't need to automate everything. And not everything needs to be like fully like and but they're still extremely efficient, so they just found the right balance behind it. And then with triathlons, they make this 1% improvements every single time, that when you combine them all together, they lead you to better outcomes, right? But it's not like
Exactly.
they make a change that they expect will like triple the results. It's more like micro improvements that will like
Yeah.
eventually lead to just better outcomes. So
And one more thing I actually want to say. Basha, hopefully he'll find this quite funny because this is maybe the first time I'll admit this. But in the last 6 months, it's been very interesting to build with Balsha. And the reason is because me and Balsha really complement each other. So
nice.
I recently have been very into like, how can we, like, even though I said what I said, but just trust me, hear me out. I'm like, how can I gain more time back in everyone's day? How can we automate? How can we use AI? Balsha is one of the smartest people I've ever met. Like he is the brains of this agency. So he's always like essentially bringing me back to reality and being like, dude, you need a human. You need a human. And I think now we found this like perfect intersection. And I think long term, we are going to be proven that we're right because a lot of other agencies are going the route where we want to automate 100% of everything. But then if you do that and use AI for everything is automated. Your brain, it's like, the expression use it or lose it. If you're not thinking, there's no one like driving the car. Like there's a point where why would I even pay you to work with you? It makes no sense. So I think that's our moat at the end of the day is like everyone on our team actually thinks, they problem solve. We push them to do that. So then when we build these kind of project management system, then they're performing at like 10x the efficiency, and they're empowered. They're not being replaced, right? So I think that's a really important component that a lot of people miss. And I'll be honest, I think I would have missed if I didn't have Balsha on my side, right? So I think you need to find like the best of both worlds.
Love it. Amazing. Couldn't agree more. Okay, Robert is asking, I own a local business service business, and I use cold email to reach out to other businesses in the area. So how many emails should I send before I can reliably evaluate what's working and what's not? So what kind of, actually, let's just make this question more broad. So what recommendations would you give to someone in a similar situation, like someone owning a local service business, and they want to reach more business? What is your process usually? Like, what recommendations would you make to someone like this?
I can take this one. So, like, essentially, once you you really have to focus on the fundamentals, right? So take it one step at a time. Like, really, and it's really not that hard in today's world. Use the tool like instantly. They have everything there. Set up the infrastructure, because it's just gonna be simple. Why would you go the route of like doing everything manually, like spending time to like have this custom infrastructure? Just go with a tool that basically does everything for you, like let's say instantly does it. And once you get the fundamentals right, well, then you really have two main levers that you can pull on. And these two levers are going to be, on one hand, it's going to be the lead list. So the better the lead list is, the better that the other lever is also going to be, which is copy, right? So these are the two main levers. And if you can kind of find a way to really create a laser targeted lead list, a lead list that's like, let's say in your case, if it's just by area, well, you can reference that, right? Like you want to really make it as laser targeted as possible, potentially find a trigger, potentially find something to connect to a pain point. Once you have these two levers set, and then you can just press launch and get leads, right? And then it's about managing the inbox. Something that will really help there is speed to lead. So this is what we advise all of our clients. If they manage to respond within the first 3 minutes of an interested response coming in, well, then the conversion rate is, I think, 400% increase, something like that. Essentially, if you respond within the first 3 minutes. And this is very logical in terms of why it is like that. Well, because everybody in today's world is very busy, right? Like, we're on our phones, we're on social media, we're looking at YouTube, and everybody is distracted, and all of a sudden when you're looking at your email inbox, you're in this state of mind that doesn't really want to do stuff, right? Like, you're responding to a cold email because the offer just like hit the right spot. You want this, the pain point was real, and you're responding to the email. But maybe I responded now, and all of a sudden, like half an hour later, I'm in a meeting, or I'm serving guests if it's a local business, whatever the fact is. You want to be the one that's responding within the first 3 minutes, and this will increase your actual book meetings. Those are some fundamental pieces of advice that I have. But honestly, if you get like deliverability right, if you get the sequencer right, and then you focus on the two main levers, which is creating a very good lead list and using that good lead list to create the copy, right? You want to base the copy on the lead list. Don't focus on AI. You don't really have to do all of this fancy stuff. If you get the fundamentals right, you're going to be in the top 3% of people sending cold emails.
Balsha,
And it really is
can
like
you,
that. Yeah.
Balsha, do you mind? Maybe I think it would be really helpful for people if you shared, because we were talking about this, I think, yesterday. Like, what are the top books that you read that really helped you come up with a copy? Because we were even saying, and I'm not sharing any like, oh my God, secret sauce. Like, if you're listening to this, remember, like, listen to these books, write them down, find the PDF, upload them into a custom GPT agent or Gemini gem, and then use that as your source of truth to write copy. Done.
Yeah.
Very easy. But what are those books?
Honestly, I think I could name at least like 3 or 4. One is Breakthrough Advertising. So this is by far the best copywriting or marketing book in general for like your underlying strategy. Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz. Then you definitely should read The Ultimate Sales Letter by Dan Kennedy, a great copywriting book, really like outlines the steps and what it takes to create compelling copy. Something that can help with sentences is definitely Robert V. Bly, The Copywriter's Handbook. I think I got the name correct. Apart from those books, but those are honestly like the main ones. Like they really please.
This is gold. Like all I can say now is that Balsha, you are like the Nikola Tesla of call Outbound. You even have the same hairstyle as Nikola Tesla. So yeah, massive respect.
Thank you.
But he is not in love with a pigeon. Ladies, if you're watching this, he's not in a relationship. No. Yeah, he's not in a relationship with a pigeon. Okay. Also, if you don't get this reference, you go look up Nikola Tesla. You do not know who Nikola Tesla is. Yeah.
Love it. So I want to address this comment from Tom, where he's saying that the majority of his prospects are using Outlook, and he's in the process of setting up an outreach campaign. I know we mentioned before that you guys don't send, like you try not to send to Outlook accounts. Like from my personal campaigns, I separate them and I still send to Outlook emails, but I'm extremely careful with those. Like I do text only, I keep it super short and sweet, try to like be as relevant as possible. So I think that's why I isolate them. So I'm just extra careful with Outlook, because Outlook with deliverability is even more strict. Anything else you want to add to that?
I mean, kind of like a broken record on my end is that Tom will need to try this out. As in,
yeah,
as long as you have warmed up Outlook domains, you definitely have to. I saw one growth hacky way to do this. Full disclosure, we have not tried this out. At least, Balsha, you can correct me if we did. Where I saw someone saying that you send an extremely short email to an Outlook inbox, let's say like a sentence, and then instantly you make the second email to go out like damn near instantly, or like a couple minutes after, where it's like completing what you wanted to say from email one. And that's your way to get around landing in the inbox, but then being able to say fully what you want to say.
Honestly, honestly, the only thing that I would add there, because at the moment we are selective with who we work with, and we do like working with people that have larger total addressable markets. So when we get clients like that, it's not hard to really go after the low-hanging fruit, which is going to be like the Google inboxes, right? Like they just perform much better. You want the client to see like quick wins and great results. But if you really have to target Outlook, probably like the advice that I would have is you really have to go with as unique of a copy as possible. Domains have to be aged, so the more age they have, the better, and the copy has to be short. So basically, you have to go with extremely unique copy. Preferably, everything is AI generated. So like conversational, less than 30 to 40 words. Domains are aged, not like Google. You can't start sending in 2 weeks. You need a minimum of 1 month of warm up, and essentially like. Even then, it depends. The new like the filter on Outlook and the thing that they're doing, they actually have an outbound. If you look at like the flags on email inbox placement tests, there is like they actually mention specifically that there is like an outbound protection feature which is blocking the emails from going in. So there is an outbound protection feature with like this update is now like months old. And it's essentially like the way Outlook is kind of protecting themselves against outbound. So yeah, it's not great. If you have the luxury of avoiding them, do it. If you don't, well, then you do this. This is the best way to go forward. Yeah.
Amazing. So Sane is asking, since we're talking about your agency and your process, and maybe if this is for anyone willing to build their own agency, or maybe someone with more money than time, and maybe they want you guys to handle your campaigns. How do you usually build your clients? Do you use like a monthly retainer setup fee, charge per call book? What do you recommend maybe for someone starting out? Or how do you usually offer your services for people interested in working with you guys?
Yeah, so this we're gonna go back to the same dimwit meme as well, kind of actually, because in the dimwit meme, anyone starting out. So when I start out, I used to either work for free or I would charge extremely low pricing, extremely low pricing. I'm talking like 500,000 bucks and so on. Then you get good, and then you get better, and then you might have 1 or 2 case studies that you can constantly reference, and then you start charging more, right? But then when you charge more, you're making more money, you have a system, you're not really understanding this game. Then you start thinking, well, like, damn, I'm really helping a couple of clients make a lot of money because of me. What if I remove the retainer and then I work on performance based because I'm so confident in what I do and in this problem and in this offer that if I scratch, like, let me scratch your back so you can scratch mine. Let's both grow together. I'm a lot more incentivized if I can make more money out of this, and I'll help you out. And then you charge accordingly. So I think that's the natural progression for almost every agency life. Like right now, I would say we're at the point where we're exploring the performance model for a couple of clients because we, me and Balsha, we have had the aha moment. We're like, wait, like, why are we doing this? Like, why don't we first 10x the volume because we know it works. It works so freaking well. And then why don't we align our incentives with theirs and vice versa? So and then also just because he mentioned the setup fee piece, the setup fee is great for a couple of reasons. One is, excuse me, if you generally don't have the skill set to set up some technical things for the client that will allow you to do the work, then charging that setup fee will be the amount that you will use to maybe pay for a contractor to help you with that. Another quick hack, this is a sales tactic, because this is very common in our industry, is let's say I charge 1.5K setup fee one time and then 5K retainer. And then there's a chance that the person that wants to do business with you is a bit more price sensitive. And he's giving you that, like, man, like, so the first month I'm paying 6.5, even though the setup fee for you doesn't actually make that much of a difference. So now you can use the setup fee as leverage to try to make your offer sound more sexy. So you can say, look, you know what? I want this to feel like a no-brainer. Let me just give you 50% off. Let's do 750 instead of 1500. Clean 50%, and let's work together. If you really want to sign this client, say, you know what? Because I want this to be, again, no-brainer, and I want to start as soon as possible. If we remove the setup fee, will you sign today? So you're giving something away, but you're getting something in return, which is urgency. I want to close you right now. And then they'll say yes. So I would recommend, if you're watching this, if you have the brand where you can charge a monthly retainer and setup fee. The setup fee is actually a very good thing that you can use to leverage, whether to, again, outsource some of the work or to close deals faster and just more deals in general.
Yeah, love it. Makes absolute sense. So Christian is asking here regarding how you manage your replies. So are you guys fully automating inbox management or replies using AI, or is there a person managing your replies? So how do you manage the results from your campaigns?
Yeah, I can take this one as well, because basically we figured out that most of the campaigns that we launch, we're offering something, right? We're offering essentially either a lead magnet or a code or something. So if that's the case, we build custom tables in Clay to automate the reply process, but not 100%, right? There's a label that I use called human loop. That's where someone is interested, but requires more information that our system cannot find. And then we push that to the client to handle. But if, let's say, it's just a simple lead magnet, then Instantly's APIs now allow you to send a reply directly from any other app. You could do it in Make, you could do it in N8N. This is actually, that's what inspired building this workflow. So that was great. Pricing objection, I mentioned it. Oof. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, it's all right.
Can you hear?
It's people it's people cheering all the like the
yeah, they're going crazy, guys.
So they're going crazy. They're like, Xavier, come on, share more.
Holy, I'm not getting married, boys. It's not that deep. But I was gonna say pricing objection. I mentioned it in the comment section here on YouTube. I don't know if the rest saw it. If you have a good amount of history, as in, like, you have enough data to process to figure out your most common pricing objections, then you can bake that into a prompt. And then if the AI identifies that this interested reply is interested but has a question about pricing, then I have found that the pricing injection is actually pretty good as long as you can feed it a lot of data. And then a quick hack for those of you watching is upload your call transcripts. So if you've been, and you should be tracking all your calls that you've had, you'll probably have a deeper dive into pricing objections on these calls. So you should be doing this, depending on the volume of calls you have, either on a monthly or quarterly basis. Analyze all your call transcripts, figure out your most frequently asked questions. That's my favorite use case for this. And then be more specific, figure out the most questions asked about pricing, write a prompt accordingly in Clay. And then if you identify it's a pricing question in the reply, you can automatically set the reply. So there's still a human involved, but like we've been able to automate a decent amount.
I love it. Amazing. So Mr. Paul Gibson is asking, I have a list of 16,000 in a targeted local niche. How many domains do I need to warm up to reach out to all? So I think this is all like a strategic question, like starting now. We can make it broad as well. So how about we talk about how many emails per domain, email accounts do you recommend setting up in order to like scale your outbound? Maybe we can do it the other way around, and then from there you can scale your sending per day. How many do you recommend usually for your clients and so on? Oh, yeah. I think you guys are muted. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I can take this one. So yeah, we like to keep it simple and not really complicate things. So when we're setting up Google infrastructure, we want to set up 3 inboxes on a single domain. And then depending on your appetite for volume, like we basically restrict the sending to a maximum of 15 emails per inbox. So we don't take it over 15 emails per inbox. So one domain is basically, we try to keep the sending volume on a domain basis below 50, right? So this is like in like, like just like looking at data, this is the golden number in my opinion. And yeah, however you want to do it. Is it going to be like based on setting up 2 inboxes on a domain and you stay below 50? That's okay as well. But yeah, essentially that is the only logic, and it scales in terms of volume, right? So like, let's say if you want to send 1,000 emails per day, well, then you probably need whatever, like you need like 20, or no, you need actually 30 inboxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's it.
Yeah, nice. That's a very healthy amount. So there you go, Paul. So if you want to target 6,000 local businesses, you can do the math based on how many emails you want to send per day. But it's better to do the math the other way around based on what Balsha just recommended. 3 email accounts per domain, and once again, a maximum. I think you said 50 emails per email account. We usually, but that combines warm-up emails, just for you guys to keep it in mind. So usually like cold emails probably is around like 20 to 30, and then the rest is warm-up emails. So you can multiply that, and then you can just calculate the number of emails you can send per day. So that's awesome. Okay, awesome. So how about we talk a little bit about the future right now? Where do you see Outbound and AI intersecting in the next 12 months? So what do you expect in the next year in terms of Outbound? Like, are there any tools you're testing? Anything else that you see cool change in the following months?
I would say, I mean, like, I don't know if, did you see the new Google announcement recently? Like they had a speaker note where they were announcing a bunch of new features. I think like the most exciting piece I would say is that deep research feature. We're still like right now, by the way, this is our priority. So we figured out the project management system, and now we want to see how can we leverage deep research to empower our head of strategy and even our go-to-market engineers. Even if you see how it works, it's like almost freaky that it's visiting this many websites, going through so many different layers in the span of like 5 minutes that would have taken me ages. I think that's really exciting. One tool or like one domain I'm looking into right now is how can I leverage AI to help our sales process? So one thing I'm very excited now in implementing is like when the human runs a sales call, what happens afterwards?
Yes.
How can I give something to that salesperson to get better? So maybe like an instant analysis of the call based on the transcript. And I know tools out there exist. It's just the nature of like where our business is. Like now I'm at a point where I can really see a lot of value in this. Which, by the way, another quick nugget to share with everyone, timing is everything. Like if you had emailed me about like attention.com is a tool that helps with this. If attention.com emailed me about this 6 months ago, I would not have replied. If they email me right now, I would book a meeting instantly. I mean, I actually booked a meeting with them for next week. So like it's a timing thing, right?
Yeah.
So I would say that's the thing that I'm looking at the most. What about you, Balsha?
Honestly, AI, because right now at the top of the funnel, right? Like it really makes sense to automate everything unless you're targeting enterprise companies, right? So AI is already overtaking mid-market to SMB outreach like fully at scale, like the initial outreach, right? The top of the funnel. But where I think we will see AI make further advancements is in the middle of the funnel, right? Like we will see better ways of following up with leads in a completely automated way. But this is what my opinion, when you work with AI, it's actually the same as with anything that has to do with cold email. It's surprisingly enough, it's all about specificity.
Yeah.
Like you really have to be very specific in what you outline for AI. Like let's say you're trying to automate a process, right? Whatever that process is, you can't like take like the full process and plug it into one prompt and like call it a day, right?
Yeah.
You can't really do that. You need to kind of think about it in a systematized way, and you need to build a prompt for this like one little specific thing.
Mhm.
Then once you build the prompt for this like one very, very specific thing, then you like, what is the next step? What is the next step, right? What is the logical next step? Then you build the prompt for that. So it's all about like kind of chunking it into these pieces and then combining it all into this orchestration, right?
Yeah.
And then this is how you leverage AI fully. And I think we are actually moving in that direction where AI is definitely going to take a much bigger role down the middle of the funnel. Like this, like, you know, like once an interested response comes in, I think we're going to see tools pop up that are going to do this extremely well. Extremely
Nice.
well. Yeah.
Nice. I love it. So you mentioned that one of the biggest mistakes that agencies make is trying to automate too much. You know, like they kind of get obsessed with it. Are there any other mistakes that you feel like cold outbound agencies make so they could prevent?
Yeah. And this mistake I've made, and then someone very close to me has made recently as well. I don't know if he's still watching this, but I'm not gonna air him out. But if he's watching, he knows I'm talking about him. The mistake is, and to be fair, this is I think a mistake any business will make, is focusing too much on the short term. So, like for example, right now, if someone knocks on my door and says, "Hey, man, I can sell you email infra for $1 per inbox." That's extremely cheap, right? That's very, very cheap. A lot cheaper than anything out there. First of all, if it sounds too good to be true, there's a pretty good chance it's too good to be true, right? That's
Yeah.
like a good rule to keep in mind. Second of all, when it comes to be very like more niche and specific with cold email agencies, when it comes to your infrastructure, if you think what's an infrastructure, it's literally what holds everything above. This is
Yeah.
the part that you do not want to be clever with and like counting pennies. As long as this is taken care of, like you're gonna be good. Like one thing, Balsha, for example, was telling me this, I think yesterday. We were on a call and I was like, Balsha, how the hell did we spend so much money on credits last month on Clay? And he was like, dude, I told the team, if you could not, like, let's say if you were not able to find emails with a waterfall, like prioritize finding emails with that waterfall. So if you need to add another provider and spend credits, spend the credits, because at the end of the day, we need to launch these emails. We need to have the volume, because if we get the interested leads, clients are happy, we're making money. And I think that's a great way to think about it. It's like, it's okay to spend money. You have to spend money on these kind of things. This is the best thing to spend money on, because if you cheap out on it, I almost lost this business a year ago because I decided to go the cheaper route. And my God, the opportunity cost was insane. I would be many steps ahead right now if I didn't do that, because it cost me like 3 months of my time. my time and my pocket. So that's what I would say is like, don't be cheap on these things. Like there's again, if it's too good to be true, it definitely is, you know.
Yeah.
What about
I
you,
think that.
Balsha?
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, please, Balsha.
Honestly, one thing that definitely comes to mind is taking every single client.
Oh,
Taking every single
that's a good
client.
one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
Taking money from everyone who wants to give you money, and this is
Yeah.
something that obviously we struggled with maybe like in earlier stages of the agency, but right now, like being selective, I think is such a great way to scale your agency. Like I
Yeah.
honestly couldn't yeah, go for it,
Can I say,
Xavier.
because this happened recently. This happened maybe a month ago, where we got an inbound lead. Again, if somehow you're watching this, God bless you. Please don't take this the wrong way. It is what it is. Okay. I'm obviously not gonna say who it is. But we got an inbound lead, and then they were being very picky on pricing. And then we also have a new salesperson that we hired. He's incredible. And I wanted me and him to close the deal together because he had just joined us. So I was like being more flexible, and I was like, fine, you know. And then they basically their price, I can share this. They wanted 2,500 per month, and then we do not take on clients for that. It's way too low for us now, right? So I was like, screw it, I'm gonna say yes. And then I say yes, and I call boss and tell him like, yo, sorry man, I like, we're gonna have a new client at this much. And boss was like, no, we are not. Why did you say yes to this? Why, bro? Why are you saying yes? He's like, man, come on, it's not that bad, man. Like, come on, it's just no. And then of course, like we also ended up getting a bunch of questions from them afterwards, and I was like, what am I doing? And I had to message them like, guys, I'm really sorry, but actually, like, I don't think we should work together. So
yeah.
yes, I think that's a way better point than my point. Like, do not say yes to everyone, because like there's no free lunch. Even if they're paying you, that doesn't always mean it's a good thing, you know.
Yeah, I think both points are really valuable, but definitely, I think it's about setting the expectations right. I think if you tell people, look,
Mm,
you're going to have, let's say, 2 calls per month, these many campaign reviews, these many variables per campaign, and you said everything right, so the clients don't think that you're going to be literally available 24/7 for them, because you also have a business to run and to scale. They understand that what they're going to be paying for, it's this. And then if they ever go like to want to cross that line, well, they will either have to pay more, or it's just not possible because it's just not scalable as a business. So I think that's a great learning lesson. All right, awesome. So, like, just to close this webinar, are there any KPIs that you guys track that help you know that you are being successful, whether it's for your campaigns or for your business? Like, any metrics that you think others should be tracking as well?
one metric that comes to mind, and I have to give him his flowers because he's the first person I saw that talked about this. Eric, Eric, no, Bossa. How do you say his last name? Wallah, I can never say his last name. I can't.
Yeah,
Bossa
Novoslavsky,
is the perfect.
Novoslavsky.
Yeah,
Eric knows
my bad,
Lavsky.
Eric. Yes.
It's all right.
It's
The
Slavic.
the
It's
met
Slavic. So yeah.
exactly, the metric I saw him first talk about is like, how many leads do you need to contact to get an interested reply? And then he was saying that the industry average is like 1 to 300, to now I would say it's like probably even more, right? Like 350 or 400. So for us, if you can launch a campaign where you're getting a lead for every double digit, so like for every 80, 70, 60, 90, whatever, you're killing it. And in our experience, like right now, we have a campaign for our business, right? Cold email right now, I would say, I think it's either the second or the number one acquisition channel for us. It's either referrals or cold email. I think it's second. Referrals have been really good for us, but with cold email, we have that ratio. So then, because we track that, we know if we add 1,000 leads, we are gonna get what's the ratio? I think right now it's like 1 for every 30, right? So 1,000 divided by 30. So I am special. It's 33. Yes. We're getting 33 people that want to talk to us. So I would say that ratio is something that people should track to see. A caveat to mention is that if your ACV is huge, so if your ACV is like 5 million, like that's just the company that you have, then having a bad ratio there isn't that bad. It's kind of like a BMI index. Like if your BMI says it's really high, doesn't mean you're obese. You could just be the most jacked guy that exists, right?
Yeah.
So take that with a grain of salt. But I think that metric is very important to track for campaigns.
Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, last question. I swear, you're just delivering too much value, so it's just I have just more questions popping out in my head. If you were to start your agency from scratch again, and let's say you could turn back in time, and you had to start all over again, but with all the knowledge you have today and experience, what would you do differently, or how would you start it differently?
If I were to start over again, I would, sorry, I can't help it. It just feels like it's the right thing to say. I would make sure I'm not following a single cold email guru on any platform.
That's what I meant.
I
I also don't like
Yeah,
gurus, so don't get me wrong.
yeah, I would not follow them. I would pick one or two agency guys or girls
Yeah,
that you really like, and I would stick to that. And I would literally block out every single person because there's so much noise.
too much
I
noise.
think
Yeah,
so much noise. I think you have to do your best job to reduce that noise as much as you can. So,
yeah.
like I swear to God, that if I could go back in time and I could like talk to myself like Eren from Attack on Titan. If you don't know this reference,
Yeah.
again, what are you doing? I would tell myself like, yo, just remove all these people, just stick to
Yeah.
these two, and that's
Yeah,
it. That's what I would do.
there are people that you rarely see on social media, like a few of
Yeah,
them, like sales Jacob from sales.co,
yeah,
Mo Shelby,
yeah,
from Alpha. Like those guys, you never see them on social media, and they send millions of emails. So I
yeah,
agree
yeah,
with you. If you can get them like to like do a coaching session, pay them a few $100s, and then you start running campaigns immediately, I'm pretty certain you can get to a 10K agency much quicker than just like being bombarded by noise and then not doing anything. So being in the status quo of overthinking. So I agree with you.
yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. So, well, thank you so
One
much, everyone,
one
for. Yeah, go for it.
one thing, Felipe, before we close off, do we have time? Like, I would like to
Go for
walk
it.
the audience through like one actual strategy
All right.
that we implemented for a SaaS company that was targeting leads that don't exist on LinkedIn or Apollo or these big data sources.
Oh, yeah.
Like, do we
Let's
have
do that.
time? Like,
We have all the time of the world, and I'm just being mindful of your time, but let's do that. Plus, share like the prompt that we mentioned. We will share at the beginning because I see like more than 100 people stick through the end of it. Like I saw 150 at some point, just watching entirely nonstop. So really appreciate all of you guys. So let's go. You can feel free to share anything you want.
I'm gonna share my screen.
I think an image is worth more than 1,000 words, so I love it.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
So, basically, I did prep like a little bit of a presentation, but we can skip this. I think we covered most of this here. But let's just jump into the use case. So, as you know, the point of everything that we yapped about today is how to target people people that don't exist on LinkedIn and don't exist on Apollo, right? So, this use case here. This was a Google reviews SaaS company that was targeting general, like local businesses, where their ideal ICP was a business like a law office, right? Like an insurance agent, because they had certain features that would make getting Google reviews for these guys a lot easier, right? Managing. So how did we like then end up thinking of developing the strategy? And as I mentioned originally, there are two main levers, right? So you want to create, like, number one, like once you get the fundamentals right, the deliverability, you're using a sequencer that actually does the job for you, like the fundamentals are set. Well, then there are two main levers. The two main levers are the lead list and the copy. But first off, the lead list is always the strategy. Like it's gonna be the strategy. It's gonna be like the way you write your copy. So here is what we actually like to do. We like to create a broad lead list, and then we like to think of custom data points that we can connect. If found to be true, we can connect to certain pain points and make the emails based on these data points extremely personalized. So because these guys had a SaaS company that was basically getting and not really removing, but kind of preventing local businesses from getting bad reviews, we realized that the initial list is going to be created of like lawyers. So we're going to scrape Google Maps and we're going to target lawyers initially. And we came up with 5 segments of how we're going to create like the copy, right? So based on publicly available data of Google reviews. So we scraped a list of lawyers, and then we, because we scraped them off of Google Maps, then we kind of had data on their Google reviews, right? So if the first data point that we're looking for in the reviews is if they have above 100 reviews, because if they have above 100 reviews and they're a law firm, then we kind of could assume that they are sophisticated, that they have a solution, and we pitch them on price. We assume they're sophisticated, they have some sort of solution for Google reviews, and the dream outcome is going to be the mechanism and differentiation they need, and that's it. And essentially the second approach was looking like in the broad lead list of lawyers straight from Google Maps, we're looking for people that have a 1-star or a 2-star review on Google in the available data. And then we're going to be mentioning this in the copy. The third segment was if they had less than 50 reviews, but we could find competitors that are above 100, right? And then we would mention the competitors in the email copy. And then like there's another segment that we wanted to roll out, and that was if they're below 4 in their Google reviews, because this indicates that their competitors could be doing better than them, and like online reputation is crucial for people figuring out which lawyer to go with. And like as number 5, they didn't receive a Google review in the last 3 months, which would like essentially kind of they would lose the legitimacy of their Google rankings as a result. So okay, so how did this end up like being formulated? The way we wanted to do the copy is we're basically using that data and like essentially complementing them on the number of reviews they have. This is the segment of above 100 reviews, right? And then like once we basically go with an observation, which gives us the right to ask them a question that leads to a pain point. So then the question should actually like, do you feel like your current system for collecting reviews is overpriced and bloated with features you don't need? So based on us working with the client, we figured out this is actually a great question to ask these people, because a lot of them are paying for Google review software that essentially just they're paying for features they don't use, and we just want to sell them on a cheap software that's going to get them exactly what they need. And that's it. Like then we give them the offer that we help offers get 5-star Google reviews per month for under $100 per month. Plus they choose which reviews go public, letting them block bad ones. And in the CPA, we're going with a low friction CPA that's basically offering a 14-day trial. And that's it. So I want to like stop here and maybe see if there are some comments.
Love it. No, I think this is a great process, guys. I know it's a lot of information to digest, so you know maybe some people might replay it now. But yeah, I see people are asking also for the prompt. Maybe we can also, yeah, people are saying great stuff. Yeah, maybe we can share the prompt. So let me share it.
It's a long prompt.
It is a long prompt, yeah.
But yeah,
we can also add it later to the we can add it later to the live on YouTube and LinkedIn. But maybe if you want explaining a little bit, I see that you first. I like how you guys guide ChatGPT or whichever platform or LLM you're using, but you're giving it a role, like a context, like information about the role, ICP, and so on. So can you explain a little bit how you built this prompt?
Yeah, so you know, I'm very big on working smart, not just hard. And Google released a 68-page PDF on how to prompt and also they mentioned in the PDF that the prompting will change based on the model that you use. We've been big fans of Google Gemini recently, So this works best on Google Gemini, and this is based on the PDF guide. So what I would recommend also for anyone watching this, I do this a lot. When I feel like my prompting isn't very accurate, I have the PDF always handy where I can upload it into a chat and say, you're a prompt engineer trained by this Google PDF guide. Can you take my current existing prompt and modify it based on the instructions made in the PDF? And that's how this prompt was built. Because again, if Google is launching a 68-page document explaining how to prompt, it's probably worth for you to pay attention to it. So that's what it's based on. So you just have to fill the ICP description, whatever ICP people are looking for, if it's in a really niche database or niche ICP, and then it'll do a pretty good job at finding something if it's out there online.
Awesome. I'm going to highlight in yellow everything that needs to be filled by people, and then we're going to share this doc on YouTube and also LinkedIn. So awesome. This is great. So once again, guys, really appreciate on behalf of the Instantly community all the value you shared today. Again, if there is anyone that needs to get results via call Outbound, Xavier and Balsha are your guys. How can the people get in touch with you guys? Do you have an email or website that in case people want to find more information for you?
They can go on our website, OneAway.io. They can find Balsha on LinkedIn. They cannot find me, unfortunately, anywhere. I'm banned.
You broke LinkedIn when you shared too much content, so much value, and then LinkedIn say we need to ban this guy. So
fuck LinkedIn, bro. I'm gonna start. This is my new personal brand. I'm gonna come on YouTube in the next couple of weeks, and that's gonna be the thing I talk about the most. But I will want to say, if you're watching this and you're looking for a job and you want to join a team, we're always looking to hire. So get in touch with either Balsha or myself. If you want to get in touch with me, email me at xavier@oneaway.io. And then I don't know if Felipe, I can't send the link in the chat, can I?
Don't. Yeah, you should be able to, but don't worry. We're gonna put it like just in 1 minute.
Okay.
We're gonna put both the prompt and your calendar or website.
I was gonna say there's a link if anyone wants to apply to join. I'll send it to you directly on WhatsApp. If you want to paste it afterwards, then you can apply there. But that's pretty much it.
I love it. By the way, guys. Anyone looking to join a top 1% agency, Xavier and Balsha are your guys. I know them for years. And also we had like in a few previous webinars, like announcements like this. And then, we've seen like some success stories where like people willing to like learn Outbound and work somewhere, they ended up joining an agency. Then the agencies are super happy because they found someone really like basically like with all the interest of just crushing it. So yeah, that's a great call for the community. Love it.
Appreciate it, Felipe. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. And see you on the next live webinar.
Take care, everyone. Ciao. Bye.